So you're from England like me, right?
Yep, I'm just outside London.
So do you think that the weather is going to get worse? It's just going to continue to get worse, or is it going to be like different parts are going to be hot and then cold, and it's just going to be like circumstantial?
Well, I go away a lot, and I've been back since September. Do you know it's rained every day? Every day since September. So I think we've got more rain to come. And I'm currently by the sea in a little holiday village, and it's just so muddy. It's unbelievable.
So all the
Mud
shoreline
everywhere.
keeps coming up to
Yeah.
all like, flooding everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not flooding. It's just the amount of rain has made everything so muddy. But yeah, what's wrong with a bit of mud?
Do you think that everyone along the coast is going to have to come into the countryside at some point because the tide keeps rising?
Nah, I think it'll be years. It's probably taken years to get this far, so it's probably going to take years and years. But sometimes you see news reports where houses have fallen off, don't you?
Yeah.
They've kind
like
of just fallen into sea. Yeah, and I have a house in the Caribbean, and I chose not to be by the sea because it's just dangerous. So I'm up high, up on a hill, so I can see the ocean, but I'm not going to fall into the sea. That's the last thing I want to do. So
yeah, you see all these
chances.
It's like all these massive sinkholes in Florida. You see their house just get sucked under, and then when the water starts rubbing away the earth by the house on the beach, you see like half the house just like dropped. It's crazy. Like,
what about this? The typhoon? No, not typhoon. What happened in America where the whole village was just destroyed by it wasn't a hurricane, it was a tornado. The whole tornado.
I haven't actually heard much about that. I've heard of like there was a tornado, but I've not actually like looked into it. But
it happened. It happened about 1 o'clock in the morning. Everyone was asleep, and they all have safe rooms, which I didn't know. But they didn't get down to the safe rooms, and there's 20 odd that have died, and it only lasted really short amount of time, but just took the town out. But what I don't understand is why they build their houses out of wood, not out of brick. Maybe they haven't heard the story of the 3 little pigs.
It's true. Like the reason why so many American houses are absolutely massive and they're so cheap is because it's made out of wood and they don't spend all the money on the bricks. Like in England, the reason why our houses are so expensive and they're like this bloody big is because the bricks cost a shitload of money. So yeah, that's why they have big houses and it's cheap. But when it comes to like storms and stuff, if they've not got like a tiled roof or bricks, then obviously it's just going to be like living in a shed, just a bigger version.
I think just tell everybody the tale of the 3 little pigs. That would solve it. I'll huff and puff and blow your house down.
Yeah, and that puff is God the storm. So put some measures into place where you can handle the storms. That's the thing. Like they always build their houses in like middle of nowhere, and where there's just like loads of space, the temperature can drop and rise, and that's where storms happen. So like over history, you must have realized that storms always happen in these types of places, and they still live there or choose to build there. Like some people, their houses get destroyed and they just rebuild again, and then another storm comes along. It's like, what do you expect?
Exactly. Well, especially in the Caribbean, they had the island that I stay on. They had a hurricane 2 years ago. It devastated the island.
Oh, you cut out. Wait a second. Cut out. Hang on.
But then they made their roof again zinc. They have zinc roofs.
Zinc.
Zinc, Z-I-N-C, zinc roofs. It's like a metal. They have these metal sheets that they make their roofs out of, and they blow away again.
And was your house affected?
No, mine was hurricane-proof. So mine's got like 6-inch walls. No, it's fine. No, I'm not silly. But, you know.
You take your... Are you able to move the camera down a little bit? Your head's half across the screen.
I've got my coat on. Hold on. Let me just move. Take my coat off. Well, I'm actually in a holiday camp, and we're all in static caravans, and my heat packed up last night. So I'm in the office in reception talking to you.
Oh, that's why the signal's crap, because you're in a caravan home and not your actual house with your 4G fibre optic broadband.
Exactly. Look, I'm using this box to talk to you.
Okay. Yeah. God. Anyway, so are you worried about the coronavirus affecting you?
I think you have to be vigilant, and I'm not going to be stressed about it. You can't. So just, hand sanitizer, wash your hands, and just be a bit sensible. Because if you're going to get it, you're going to get it. But you can only do your best, really. So
yeah.
That's it.
Look, there's always been like flus around.
What about you?
No, I'm not worried. I've got a good immune system, so it's just like getting a flu, and then I recover in a few days. People only die because they've got a weak immune in the first place, so it's just like another flu, and just made to be this massive thing in the media.
Exactly. No, totally agree with you. And
like
there's some political.
I don't know, like 5,000 have died or whatever, but each year, many more than 5,000 die from the general flu in general. So it's no different.
But I think the figures are 0.1% die from the normal flu, and 2% are dying from this one. So I think it's the percentage that's higher. But I do agree with you. If people are dying because they've got other problems, I totally agree.
Yeah, we are designed to fight foreign pathogens as any animal is. So we will always recover unless you've got weak immune in the first place, which means that was a man-made choice. If you've not eaten healthy or drunk healthy or kept active and fit and happy, then that will affect your immune. So yeah, we're naturally equipped to fight stuff like that as long as we follow the rules of nature.
Do I also think positive thinking is really important, just being a positive person. And, I'll get rid of this, I'll fight this. And, I think that's important as well.
Absolutely. I never used to get ill growing up because I just didn't care about getting ill. Like I said, I would never get ill, and I never did. So, yeah, positive thinking, like, floods the immune with, like, positive energy, and it does help you. Like, believing you're not going to get something is.
I think in life, positive thinking gets you a long way. I think I'm really a half-full person, but I think that if you get up, you have a good day, I can do this, it's going to be okay. It just changes your mental thought. So I think that positive thinking is really important.
Oh yeah, it's like being pulled along and also pushed along, as opposed to you trying to force yourself along and no one pulling you. It's like walking up a hill and you've got your friend and you're holding onto your friend in the front. He's walking and now you're going up the hill easier because he's taking half the force. Whereas if you're just walking by yourself, that's how it feels. Some negative people are going about their day. They always feel like this force, they're drained, they're lethargic. Whereas positive, you're being charged forward, like you're being pushed and pulled, and you just flow and everything's just easy. You get out of bed easier, everything goes right,
I'll tell you a funny story. I was flying out to the Caribbean a couple of years ago on an unusual route. I flew to Antigua and then took what they called a hopper plane to the island. And it was running really late. There was only 7 of us in the airport. And they took us onto the tarmac. Well, I thought I was flying in a little Lear jet plane. But then I turned right and saw this. It was like a bathtub with a propeller on it. It was that small. And you walked up to the plane. They opened the door and pulled it down. You had to bend down. And I sat on this plane, and it was like something out of Pinocchio. I had a conscience on each side. So one saying, "Get out now. Do not let this plane go." And then the other side was saying, "No, you're fine." And honestly, the two sides of my brain were chatting. And all of a sudden, the door shut, and I had no choice. And the it was fine, but it shows you the mind, what the mind can do to you.
Oh yeah, like the only thing we fear is fear itself, and that's in our head, based on past experiences, based on what we've seen or heard. Like there was a Will Smith posted an Instagram post of this little Chinese kid in the water. The water was like this big, and there was a rope, and his parents put the baby on the rope, and the baby was like, "Mommy, mommy," like thinking he was drowning. And then she picked up the kid, and when he stood, it was only that deep. And it was only coming up to like half his leg. And it was in his head based on the fact that I think that this is deep. So, yeah, all fear is in our head in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. It is fascinating, the mind. Mind is a fascinating tool.
Yeah, I've always been someone who has never had that negative voice. I've had the voice in the opposite direction to the extreme, as in I can do anything. I'm invincible. I'm God. I can do that. And I have always been able to do it. Like, I'm going to win at the casino. I win. I'm going to sell some stuff today. I'm going to sell some stuff. I'm going to do this, do that. I've always just been to the extreme where whatever I think I'm going to do, and there's no stopping me. In fact, parents and that and friends will be like, look, you can't do that. And I'll be like, yes, I can, watch me. So I've never had that battle between two voices, fortunately.
I think that was the only time. I'll tell you another little story. When I was 15, I was called into the career advisor. And the career advisor said, right, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be a director. Now, don't forget, this is a long time ago. And she said to me, don't be stupid. Go away, think sensibly, and come back again. So I went away. I don't know how I came up with this because there was no internet at the time. And I went back the next day and she said, have you thought of something sensible? I said, yeah, I'm going to be a makeup artist. So she goes, oh, that's good. She said, how are you going to do that? I said, I'm going to go to the London College of Fashion. And she said to me, you'll never get in. And I left the room, okay. One, I got to the London College of Fashion and became a makeup artist. But in my head, by being a makeup artist, that would get me on a film set. And from there, I'll be a director. And I've done it all. So that one woman who said, you can't, inspired me to say, I can. And now I produce, direct, I do it all. But it just shows you that, you know, what the mind does to you. So I like being told I can't, because then I can prove I can.
Yeah, like when I was growing up, my fuel was my parents, my mum saying, you can't do that. And then the end of it was watch me or Oliver, no. And then it's told you. That was my fuel. And I found that as I've got older and I've learned not to respond to negativity and I don't see those friends anymore, that drive and that fuel isn't there anymore, because the drive and the fuel initially was because of them saying, I can't do that. So now it was all about trying to prove them wrong. And I realized that if you live your life trying to do things just despite someone to prove them wrong or because of them, that when they're not there and you're here and you've got the makeup job and you're like, well, did I actually want to be a makeup artist, or was I doing that to prove my teacher wrong? So I believe that although people can inspire you to get you into that position where you feel like there's a threat and they're going to take you back and say, you can't do that, and you say, yes, I can. You need to be able to have the motivation yourself without an external force, because then you're not just relying on that force. You've also got your own drive pulling you forward, but then pushing you as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. She inspired. I mean, I was 15 years old, so probably at that point it was, I'll show you. But I have another story. I'm an author, and when I started writing, I started with children's books, 7 to 11-year-olds. And when people said to me, what do you write? I would say kids' books. And you would physically see their shoulders drop, as if they went, oh, as if it was easy. Like, how ridiculous. But anyway, and then one day I thought, oh, this is enough. I've had enough of this. I'm going to show you. And then I started writing adult crime fiction. Well, my world changed because I became respected because I was writing about murder. How ridiculous is that?
Yeah. Like that shows that when you focus on something, you just have to take action towards it. And if you keep taking action, you meet the right people and then it becomes a reality. Whereas most people do the same shit every day and they're not used to change and doing anything different. So they don't know what it takes to get something new because that's all they've ever had, the same. And yeah,
I do think change. I don't have a problem with change, but most people do have a problem with change. And that's the hardest thing for people to do, is to take a different path, take a step out of their kind of normality. No, it doesn't bother me.
I always say that you can't so you take a horse to water, you can't make it drink. Well, it's very true. You can force its head down, but then when you're gone, it will just stop drinking and go back to what it was doing. And you can guide people to somewhere, but unless they want to stay there and then find the water and drink it, you can't really help people. They have to want to do it themselves, and everyone is being baby fed that we're all being dragged into things that we don't want to do, and then we're just stuck, and then we just accept and surrender.
Well, I get loads of people every day say to me, oh yeah, I'd like to write a book. And I don't say anything, but I feel like saying, well, go on then, stop talking about it, go and do it.
Held that thought, signal's bad. Okay, say it again.
I get a lot of people saying to me that they would like to write a book, and I say, well, don't talk about it, go and do it. Every day I get people say, oh yeah, I'd like to write, or I'd like to do that. And I think, well, just stop saying I'd like and go and do it. Don't talk.
Yeah, I used to be someone who used to always tell my parents, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it became a point where I spent a lot of my time saying what I'm going to do, and I was looking for like my father's approval, where he'd be like, oh my god, that's great, that's amazing. Instead, he either didn't react, or he said, that's stupid, you can't do that, how are you going to get there? And then it became like I'd just come up with something else, and it wouldn't be about the action and what I was saying I was going to do. It'd be about getting that approval from him, like, yeah, that's really good, why don't you do that? And then he'd help me how to do it. So I spent my life trying to get his approval for what I was going to do. But on his path, he was looking at it like, if I respond, he's going to get the reaction. If I say he's great, he's going to start feeling he's great and not do anything. If I'm negative, it's obviously not going to be any good. So it became a point where there wasn't a right or wrong way. And all I had to do was just shut up and do it. And now I don't speak about the things I'm going to do. I say it when I've done it, because I've learnt my lessons.
Oh, really? That's interesting. No, I'm really... I think it's important to not just talk but do. So if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And so I'm kind of conscious before I say it now, where I've got a book to finish, my current book, and I'm getting asked by the fans, when's it coming out and things like that. So I say, right, I'm going to finish it by, so I will give myself goals, you know.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It can take me up to a year with all the research before I write a book.
Yeah, so when I would normally say what I'm going to do, because I always chop and change and I'm very creative and I don't know, like I have a as you say, year goal, for example, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. So I'd say, well, I'm going to do this, but then I won't start saying what I'm going to do, because if I say I'm going to London today and then I don't go to London, everyone's like, I thought you were going to London. And I've got to keep like backtracking everything. So now it's like, if I go to London or I go to Manchester or Bournemouth, I'll say that I'm in Bournemouth or Manchester or London. So I've learned, if the outcome is the same and you don't know how you're going to get there, just pause, become conscious of before you say it, make sure it actually happens, and then say it. And you're still talking and communicating, but you're saying what you've done as opposed to what you're going to do. And it saves all the questions, how you're going to do it. And then instead the questions are, why did you do that? And it changes the conversation, because now they can speak about something that's real, as opposed to trying to like overpower you with, oh, you can't do that, how are you going to do that? And it's a significant difference with conversation.
Totally understand. How long have you been doing your podcast?
So I've been doing it for about a month.
Oh, not long. No, mine. I'm on 10 weeks because I've got 10 episodes, so 10 weeks.
Cool. So I'm doing all this because I want to take over James Corden's Late Late Show or Jimmy Fallon's talk show. I want a talk show in America. James Corden's is English. The guy before was Scottish. I'm English. I live in Berkshire. James Corden lives in High Wycombe, which is basically Berkshire. So I'm following the patterns of the English-like tradition. So my goal is to take over his talk show, and doing all this is about putting myself in the mindset of interviewing people I don't know, and then hopefully people are listening will, like a director, producer or whatever of CBS, NBC, whatever, will come across this, and it will just, like the law of attraction will just align me. And before you know, I'll be sitting in a room with a director for Gavin and Stacey, who's part of the production team of the talk show in America. And and then that's just how it works. So that's what this is all moving towards in 3 years' time, when I believe he's gonna step down.
And do you know I've got a documentary currently on Amazon Prime?
No. I find people and I
Okay.
speak. It's all about the conversation.
Okay. Well, my name's Jackie Rom, and I'm an author. And I write crime fiction. I have a documentary called Method of Murder on Amazon Prime currently, launched in America and Canada first, to great success, and then we launched it in February, at the end of January, in the UK. So yeah, really, really, really good fun. So check it out, Method of Murder. You're talking to someone that's been there and done it.
Yeah. So, are you gonna get it on Netflix or anything?
No, you can't. You can only do either the Netflix or Amazon Prime. Very few get on both. So they're rivals. Mm-hmm.
Do you think Amazon's... Sorry, go on.
I've just been offered a 4-part series to make in China, but obviously I'm waiting for a certain virus to finish, and then I'll be doing a 4-part documentary in China.
So you're a big believer in if you can vision it, all you've got to do is take action and keep taking action until it manifests. And if you stop taking action, you'll never get there. But you need to keep taking action, and eventually you will get there, subject to having the skills in the first place. Like I say, you can't just want to be a singer because you can sing. You've got to be able to have the business mindset, get up early in the morning. You've got to be talkative. It's not just like singing. But you believe that as long as you have the ability to direct and write, then if you have a vision, you will always get it if you keep going.
Let me tell you my story. I knew my second book of a series was going to be based in Vegas. I wrote to every casino and said, can I have backstage access? Because I really like to go and investigate. I do a lot of research before I start, and they all said no. So one day I put on a Facebook page, does anyone know anyone that owns a casino? And somebody came back and said yes. So I spoke to them and I said, will you introduce me? And they said, well, they don't actually know them, but it was Derek at the D, downtown Vegas. So what I did was, I tweeted a message to him, direct message. Within 2 hours, he gave me all access at the casino. So I phoned my dad up. I went, Dad, I've got all access at the casino. And my dad said, sounds like a documentary. So at that point, I got onto another Facebook page and said, do you know anyone that makes documentaries? Over 100 people or companies applied to make the documentary. I had questions like, what's your budget? And of course, I had no budget. And I filtered them down to one company I went to see, and they gave me we did a cash flows and projections very quickly. Then we needed to get an investor. So I went back to Facebook. This is absolutely the truth. I went back to Facebook. I put on one Facebook page, anybody know any investors? Within 5 minutes, 3 people replied. One was a friend of mine asking what's going on. Another person said, tell me more. And the guy that introduced me to the casino answered. And I said, well, we've already got someone. And that first person invested within 3 days a lot of money. And we left 5 weeks later and made the documentary.
So when you say Facebook page, what do you mean? A specific page, like an acting page, like the page we met on, or what do you mean by what type of page?
My house is on a small island called Saint Martin, and it's there are Facebook pages for people that go to the island, that love the island, and I just posted on one of those. They knew me kind of by name. They know I'm an author. They know what I do. And this man, he took all the contracts and everything to his lawyer and paid the money within 3 days. And we were gone and made the documentary. So it's all possible. I never would have believed, never in a million years would I believe that would happen.
Yeah, that's the true law of attraction story. What's interesting is you've got the law of attraction in terms of the mind, like coming across these people like on a set and you want to make a book and then the director's also making a book. That's the law of attraction with the mind. But the law of attraction process in terms of the physical action of just keep networking, keep going, we'll get there. That's a fine example physically, and then you will attract with and it grows.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's been, and people think that it's happened to me overnight. You know, I've been writing since I was 17 years old, so it's a long, long road. I know it's 11 years since I've been, professionally writing and publishing. So 2 years, just over a year and a half ago, I got a legit publishing deal, and I now have agents, PR, a whole team of people that look after me. Well, and you know, I'm 61 years old, so who would have thought at that age suddenly you have a new career and a new presenting? I would never have guessed. You never know.
It shows that it does take time to build a name and build a career. Like everyone wants to get famous overnight on social media. Yeah, ultimately I'm no different. I want to make it quickly, but in reality, you need to know people, and it takes time to know people, and things have to take time. Like it happens at the same time a tree would grow in the garden when you plant it. It doesn't happen overnight. It just grows gradually, and then it starts to become really big. And I realize now that I'm no different to the tree. I have to go at the same rate that the tree grows, because you can't really force it to happen any quicker. And then people give up and they go down another path. So they go down an acting path or a singing path or a modeling path, and they always stop at the same point where they don't really get anywhere. So I've learned to just, it's all part of the industry. Rather than trying to do everything, just do one. And then once you've got that path, then you can go into acting, and then you can go on to stand up and whatever. So now I'm focusing on the presenting and the talk show. Otherwise, I'll fucking be doing this when I'm 60, trying to go down all these paths.
Yeah, I've just signed a contract to write a 4-part TV series, a crime series. But the person that I'm co-writing with, I've known since I was 16 years. So you're right. You know, when he wanted a co-writer, he came to me because he knows what I've done. So yeah, it takes a long time. Nothing. You know, if it does happen overnight, which it does now in today's social media and reality shows, I think they sell their soul, and they don't. It doesn't last for very few last.
Yeah, it's a quick buck, and it never lasts. And I'd rather not have it. I'd rather have it all forever. I'd rather not have it. I'll either want to be a monk in the forest, foraging off nuts and living in a shed, or want to have mansions all around the world and jets and stuff. I don't want to just suddenly get it overnight if I can't maintain it, if the work's going to dry up. I'm not interested, because I want to build a career. People just want it quickly, and then they see an opportunity and they grab it, like Love Island, and then it's just gone. And it's like, well, what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah, we've only got to look at, 2 weeks ago and the unfortunate death of what's her name, the girl, Love Island. Fame is not always, it is very strange. I mean, I've had some really funny things happen to me in the last year. I've been stopped. I was sitting in an airport, and this woman is looking at me, and I kind of tried to ignore it. And then American woman, and she goes, "Are you Jackie Ram?" Yes. "I've read all your..." talking to you, and it's fine. But it is funny to think, something that you've worked on, especially with the children's books, when the children love your characters, it's really heartwarming. And when I first got my books in libraries, it was weird, because you think people are going to be able to read my stories forever. They're my stories. They came from my mind. They're my creations, So it is, but it has been slow burning. So maybe it's easier to deal with when you've spent a long time getting there.
Do you think that that the key ingredient nowadays of success is consistency? Because everyone's got the skills, but they never do it long enough where it grows. Like they plant that seed, and if it doesn't suddenly grow overnight, they just sort of think, fuck it, and plant another seed. And so they're forever just chopping and changing. Nothing's consistent. Like nobody wants to wait anymore. Like I have to understand that I might not make it for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and that's the reality. I either get on that train and I ride it, or I don't bother, and that is scary. But is that just the hard truth that it takes time?
I think it does. I think if you want longevity, it does. I mean, years ago, I've been in the world of entertainment all my life. So I've worked on film sets, and I am actually a drama coach, an acting coach. So, and I teach professionals. That's kind of my other job. And I've watched I've had many child stars go through that I've taught and just don't last very long. But the ones that have lasted from child actor to adult are the ones that are hardworking and have got longevity. And it's the same with the music business. The people that have spent doing clubs, doing the circuit for years are the ones that have got success and longevity. So yes, I do think you've got to be a jack of all trades in this world, because to be able to be a host or a presenter, and you also have to be a specialist in social media. That has to go hand in hand nowadays. So yeah, it's just about getting. It's like, just as you said, it's the tree roots, getting those roots good and well formed.
Yeah, like I used to be jack of all trades when I was younger, and I was doing everything and anything, and I could never get past like the second step. I was planting all these acorns and they would sort of sprout, and then I'd go on to another acorn and sprout it. Because I realized if you just plant an acorn, nurture it, foundation, water it, give it sunlight, whatever, when that grows, that will have 5 acorns, and that will create more 5 trees, and then that 5 trees will create 25 trees. So, you know, you go to the presenting, then you go to acting, and then you go to singing if you want to. Whereas trying to do acting, singing, dancing, whatever, just to make it, it doesn't work. You're never focusing on one place long enough to build anything. And that's what everyone's doing, like just quick way to make it. And it's like, again, you get that little sprout, but it won't become a tree, and it certainly won't grow acorns.
It's really important to network, network, you know, and it's all about who you know. So, grounding a good network is really important. Meeting, talking to the people that will help you on your way. And also, it's really old-fashioned to say this, but I think it's important, always be nice to the people on the way up. I think that's really, really important.
Oh, yeah, because the reality is that those people are always going to be there, because for them, it's like a normal job. They're just doing their job, apart from it's to do with TV and fame and stuff. But for them, it's just a normal job. They're a normal person like anyone in an office. So just because you want to be this big star and everyone knows you, these are the people that have got you there. These are the casters. These are the producers. These are the directors. They have got you there. And you can't just ride through them, because you're going to have to work with these people forever. They're not just going to disappear because you're big, because the next set, they're going to be there as well. So yeah, I always look after everyone as if they're a family member, because you're a human. We connect. You're part of my life at this moment, and I'm enjoying your time. And they've all got family and problems, and everyone's just, again, you see like Tom Hanks. He's a good person. He actually was the first person who did James Corden's talk show, because he wasn't very big in America. But then when Tom Hanks did it, they all did it. Now he's got everyone on. So yeah, he doesn't forget who he was. Tom Hanks, he looks after the little people, because at some point he was that person wanting that shot. So you need to know that they're just you, but in reverse, you know.
Tom Cruise does that as well.
Yeah.
When he works with, he does the same, looks after everybody, you know. And I've worked on film sets most of my life, and met some good and some not so good, and you learn by watching what other people do.
Yeah, like I hear that Tom, for example, he's the first one on set, the last one to leave the set. He says hello to every single person, the bin man, the director, the toilet person, because that's what it's all about, like just human connection. It's not that he's better than you, it's just that he's the one who's on the TV behind the camera and you're not. That's the only difference, and it's all a job at the end of the day. Everyone there is not famous apart from the 3 big actors, you know, so fame doesn't exist.
No, exactly, and I think that's very true. And I get people coming up to me a lot, and I always smile, take photos, talk to people, because I'm nothing without these people. No one's going to buy my books, watch my films, whatever, without this connection. So I think it's really important. I must say that's why I've enjoyed doing the podcast, because it's really another way to connect with people. I like talking as well, so that helps.
Yeah, I'm a big talker, and I love meeting new people. Like, for example, if I just met you down the pub, we'd have a chat. If I met you on the beach, you'd have a chat. If I met you in the supermarket, if I was at a family event, barbecue, and you were a relative of someone, we'd have a chat. So it's no different to someone online or someone you don't know. It's just, you're just another human. And if people understand that we're all human and we are all the same, just because you don't know them, then that there's nothing to fear. Again, the fear is in our head of that person's going to judge me, or I don't know that person. And like, you can go anywhere in the world, Italy, America, France, England, London. There's so much love from so many humans. They'll invite you into their house for dinner and they don't even know you. And me doing this podcast also is about just connecting to people who I wouldn't normally otherwise connect with, because they don't exist in the same like energetic space. They're out there and they're over here. So you've got to find these people. And I love having interesting conversations.
Oh, totally. I talk to everyone wherever I go. But I must tell you something. In the Caribbean, for example, when you go into the doctor's surgery, everybody sitting there says hello, one at a time. So they'll say, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. And if you go to the bank, before you say, can I cash this check or whatever, you say, good morning. But we've lost all that. That's all gone.
Yeah, like I used to work.
That connection.
It's all fake. It's all like robotic. Like your manager says, you must say hello. How are you today? It's like you have to say it, and you just want to get that money transaction done, so you can go in the office to go on your phone to text your friend. Whereas, as you're saying, they're actually saying hello. They're actually present, looking into your eyes and saying, hello there, how are you? That makes you feel good. You don't want to go on your phone because you're connecting. That makes you feel good. But yeah, it's all robotic. Hello, how was your day? And it's just not genuine. And we're all missing people, and people are everywhere we look, but we just haven't realised.
And we also don't realise how interesting, and everybody's got a story to tell. And so connecting with people is really important, and not judging. That's really important to me. I don't judge people. I like to find out for myself.
Yeah, like every human being has an issue. Like whether it's a physical issue, a skin issue, a mental issue, they've lost their parents, their dog's got cancer. Everyone has an issue. And I've realised that you look at all these people, you meet people, they seem whatever on the outside, but they've always got something wrong in some form. And it's amazing, because you just have to empathise that we're just all humans. We've all got the same shit going on, but it's just like a different story. And yeah, everyone's got a story. When you speak to people, you find out so much that you didn't even think that would ever exist, and you suddenly becomes like, wow, that's amazing. And then yeah, you have so many people, so many stories, and you can learn from so many people, and yet everyone's just on their phones, like swiping for this new feeling, and it's just not there.
I went out with a group of students about a year ago. We went out for dinner. They were performing arts students between about 18 and 23. And when we sat down, they all turned their phone over, put it in the middle, and said, first person to pick up the phone pays the bill. So no one went on their phone. And I thought that was brilliant. More people need to do that.
Someone said that to me the other day. They went out for dinner and they put all their phone in the middle, and it vibrates, and it's the first person who sees, is it my phone, has to pay. It's fantastic. Like, you can't just, stand-ups at the moment, they're putting their phones in bags and then keeping them locked, so you can't do it, but then they're going outside to answer it because they can see that John's calling. Whereas if you do it like this, where you put it on the opposite way, you can't see who's calling, and there's a consequence. Like, obviously, you can walk back into the film at any point, but it ruins the energy, and everyone's goes, excuse me, can you come past me? But yeah, if you've got to pay the bill, all of a sudden it's your bank account that's affected, potentially fucking 300 quid's worth, because, and you'll soon start to speak then.
Yeah, very true. So I think that everybody should start doing that. I was in China. I went to China 3 times last year working, and I took a picture one day. We went out after work to a shopping mall, an outside one, and there were 3 people sitting on a bench, and all 3 were looking at their phone. And I took a picture because it's just today's world of all of them just sitting on their phones, and what a sad world. Talk to each other.
Yeah, I go on the tube, right, and I look at everyone down that side. Look at everyone down that side. They've all got earphones in. They're all on their phone, and there's me, the present monk, just looking down the carriage, thinking, we are robots. We are all robots. And I'm looking at everyone. They're on their phone like that. They're becoming an ape again, where their back's starting to arch, and soon they're walking out the tube on all 4 legs because their spine is like that. Everyone's on their phone. You say hello to someone, it's weirdo. Like, what the fuck does he want? He wants a blowjob or something. Like, give me some money. Thinking you're a weirdo. It's like, and it's crazy because when people become aware of that, it's like, Jesus Christ, we're simulated, and everyone's just like crazy. Like back in your day, for example, in London, everyone would be speaking to each other, and you're having a great conversation. Where are you going today? I'm going to Oxford Circus. I've come over to see my family. Oh, where have you come from? I've come from Italy. Oh, lovely. Yeah. We're going to the River Thames, going on a boat. Nice to see you. And that's it. No Facebook, no let me have your number, just present with that person, and then you get off and do your day. No one, yeah.
But it does depend where you live, because I'm currently in Mersey, on Mersey Island, which is near Colchester. And if I walk about here, people say hello. The nearer you get to London, the less people say hello. So there is a kind of area where it's frowned upon. I just talk to everyone wherever I am.
Yeah, like as I said, everyone's a family member to me. Like when I go to the countryside with my family, Cornwall, Dorset, whatever, Wales. When we go to the pub, when we're going on walks, everyone walks past you. So you say, morning, hello, where you come from? And you just connect and you feel fantastic. You really feel good when a human bothers to say hello, and actually when they mean it, as opposed to just like they should be saying it. And yeah, you go to London, and everyone's just like a corporate robot. Like, must work now, boss is calling. You're like, it's just no fun anymore.
Such a shame. Oh well, we've mended the world today. We've talked about how we need to change. We want people to talk to each other, be nice to each other, and don't judge each other. And positive thinking.
Yeah, have you got to go, or how much time you got left?
No, I'm fine.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just ending the call. So we've concluded that we need to be positive and happy. Good night. Yeah. So
that's the presenter, me.
Yeah. Rounding it up when the director's like, okay, you got 5 minutes. Round it up. Do you believe that, for example, people can change, or are we so set in our own ways, like biologically and energetically, for example, the vibrations of our family and friends and people? Is it possible to change your energy if you're amongst that energy? Or if, for example, stop smoking if you're always around smokers? Like I believe you've got to pull that person out, nurture them, mentor them long enough where they forget that pattern. Whereas if you've not got the time to spend pulling someone out, you're always going to relapse. Can people truly change?
It reminds me of the old question, nature versus nurture. I don't know the answer to that. I know that I choose to be around positive people. That's my choice. I don't hang around negative people. It's just, I think that I don't want it in my life. And I hope from what I do, I encourage people to, like you said, be nice and be positive, and you can do it. A lot of podcasts that I go on are about positivity. So I do think that if you elude or exude positive thoughts, and then you'll get that back. But can people change? Not sure. I don't know the answer.
For example, I taught my friends without them really having a choice, the law of attraction, energy, power of the mind. And I went around their house and I binned all their old crap and their clutter in their bedrooms. I organized their bedroom. I taught them all this stuff. I nurtured them, and I bought them new stuff, and for that moment when I'm there, they're following that law of attraction pattern: positive energy, discipline, structure. But as soon as I go, they relapse. Their bedroom becomes a mess. They just don't hang things up anymore. They save stuff. There's clutter. They relapse into the same pattern. And so I realized, if somebody wants to change, then you won't need to be there, because they'll already be doing it. But if they don't want to change in the first place, then they will relapse. And I realized that I wasted a lot of time trying to teach people back in the day this new lifestyle mindset. Whereas I taught my parents for 3 years, right? I binned their loft. I went in the loft. I removed all the contents. I basically took over my parents' house. I binned and removed everything, and I put everything in order. And I gave my mum money to buy new stuff. And I had to maintain and manage that for 3-4 years. But what I realized is, because she always seeked that freedom within herself in the first place, that once I put her back on track, she could continue where she always should have been. Whereas if you've got people who are not used to this mindset, they're not independent, they're not powerful, they won't know really what to do with that when you're not there. And so they relapse. But my mum, for example, she now turbocharged forward, because I now put her life in order, and I taught her what she was seeking, which was that feeling of, being content within. So she tells me that because she always wanted to go in that direction, she will fly when she gets that opportunity. Whereas people who don't ask for it or didn't know it beforehand, they will relapse. So I don't think that people can change. They say, can a leopard change its spots? The answer is no, it can't.
That's interesting, because I wonder, if you were helping people, who was it helping? Was it helping you, or was it actually helping them?
I was doing it for me, because I had pleasure out of having all these things to do in my head. So I've got to do your bedroom, I've got to go on your laptop, I've got to clear your loft, I've got to do this, I've got to go to the charity shop. For me, it was about, taking action on thoughts. It was my own checklist, but it was your life, because I enjoy moving forward and getting things done. So I actually enjoyed it more than them. Yeah, It benefited them for that time that I was there, but because it was my thoughts and not theirs, they don't know where to go anymore. And I've realized that if it's not your thought, then nothing will keep going forward. It's somebody else's thought. It's almost like you're going here, you quickly go here, Oliver does this system, Oliver's not there, so your thoughts go back to where you were, which was, I was just laying in my bed full of shit everywhere. Whereas if your thought is, I need to get my shit together, then now you'll be like, okay, how can I get my shit together? I come along, I teach you this stuff, and then you go to the next stage, which is maintaining your new routine and new life, because it was your thought in the first place. So if you haven't thought about it, it's not gonna become your life. If someone else has thought about it, it's their thought, it's not your thought.
I can understand that. I teach a group on every Saturday. I teach drama, and I teach a group of teenagers. They are from 12 to 16, and about once a month we just sit and talk. And when I hear how 95% of these teenagers are feeling, it's just incredible, because they are all not confident, and they're performing arts students. They are not confident. Many of them have had suicidal thoughts. They have all been in one way or another. They are all completely fixed to their phones, and it just seems sad. It's so sad that their lives are cluttered in this. I think that's what social media does. It clutters your life, because there's this feeling of failure. Now, failure doesn't bother me. I don't see the word failure as bad. I see failure is, okay, this hasn't worked, let's try a different way. But to most people, don't like the word failure and struggle. And that's what young people have to put up with today.
Yeah, for me, every no is one step closer to a yes. So it doesn't matter how many no's I get. If somebody says, sorry, you can't come backstage tonight, sorry, you can't order, we're closed, I will go and ask another member of staff until they get me what they want. Or, for example, I was in the Apple store with my mum. She was getting a phone. One member of staff said, we've ran out of iPhone 8s. And I said, wait there. And I went up to the counter and I asked someone else, and they said, we've got plenty in stock. So every no to me is just fuck off out my way. I'm going to get what I want.
yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm behind you there, exactly.
But politely fuck off out my way, not like politely, like, okay, no problem, see you soon, go to the next person. Not, you don't know what you're on about, you're talking shit. That's negative. That's not going to get you anywhere.
No, I only have one thing that annoys me, and that is bad service, because I think I work really hard for my money, and whoever I give it to, I want them to receive it with the same objective that I gave it. So people that are rude in stores, shops, especially restaurants, really, really piss me off, because I don't want to give you my money if you're going to treat me like that. And we are bad for customer service, really bad. I was in a restaurant 2 days ago, in a really lovely fish restaurant, and we got served by 3 different waitresses, and they all didn't want to be there. And at one point, I wanted to say, "You really don't want to be here, do you?" They were so miserable. Yeah, but the person, I was on a blind date, so I couldn't, like, first time say, "You really don't want to be here," but I really wanted to.
Like, as I said, when people, for example, order a Nando's takeaway, right, and it's never the same, and that's because when you go for a Nando's or for any meal, it's not just the chicken, it's the excitement of getting ready, having a shower, texting your friends, "Are you ready?" Going to the restaurant, seeing the smell, the music, the people, seeing people you know, seeing the different types of food. Oh, I wonder what that is. So nowadays we're becoming so fucking lazy. Let's deliver on Deliveroo, Just Eat, Uber Eats. Let's get this chicken that's been sat in some man's bag for 10 minutes. That's all soggy. Chips are soggy. And you're like, well, I spent £10 on this, but something's not right. That's because it's not, it's everything. It's the atmosphere. So yeah, customer service, it has a massive role in whether you feel good about your day. And if someone doesn't want to be there, you do feel shit because you don't feel like they want to serve you. And you do have a foul mood. And if someone's happy and positive and they want to serve, you feel good and you can't wait to tip them.
Exactly. That is so true. It's like getting in a black cab. I quite like getting in black cabs because most cab drivers are really friendly. So, but, I was talking, this guy I went out with, we were talking about if you put the world on commission, everybody would be so much nicer. It might not be real. It'd probably be false, but I don't care. I just like good service.
Yeah, that's true. If everyone was getting a commission every time they did something good, then everyone would be good. But then who would have to pay for that? Government, like, who would pay for that little commission? Even if it's like 0.2%, who would end up paying for that if everyone was on commission?
I think the companies would get far more people coming into their stores if all their staff were happy and jolly, and then it would pay for itself. So I don't think it's just a positive way of looking at it. Nowadays, if you go into a department store, there's never anybody to help, and I'll walk out because I'm not giving you my money if I'm not going to get a service. But I must say, before I went to make the documentary, I was really kind of unsure what to wear. I made some mistakes, some really big mistakes. Like, I've learned, do not wear white on camera because it puts about 2 stone on you. It's really unbelievable, right? One part of the documentary, I look about twice my size, and then when people meet me, they go, "Oh," I think, "Yes, I wore white. I've learned, don't wear white on camera." It's funny.
Yes, I was going to say on that topic of, I've forgotten it. I will come back. But it was very interesting.
Customer service.
Yeah, but I'm not going to waste time thinking about it. Yeah, so yeah, like, ask me a question. Like, ask me a question, something that you've been thinking about lately, which you just would like to know a different perspective on, or whatever. Any question.
Yep. Okay. Let me think about this. Okay. Yeah, but there's certain things I can't talk about, and they're the things that I'd probably want to ask.
Well, okay. You can speak about anything and anything and everything, but it's just not going to be edited, so you can swear, say whatever you want.
Oh no, it's not like that. What do you think about? Oh, I don't know. Oh, you've put me on the spot now. My brain's going, especially as you're not edited. I can't take a minute to think about it. Okay, What do you watch on television? What do you stay away from?
So I watch Netflix as opposed to like BBC One, Two, and Three. But what I've realised is that February flew by so quick, right? And now next it's going to be Christmas. And I realised when I was growing up, time used to take forever. Okay, and nowadays, literally a year flies past in the same time as a week. And I try to understand why this is happening. And I realized that when I'm meditating, I struggle to meditate for, say, 15 minutes, and it feels like forever. Whereas nowadays, we're not aware, we're not painting, we're not knitting, we're not speaking, we're not playing chess, which takes time. Now, our brains are engaged on a phone, on a video, on the TV. That could be 3, 4, 5, 6, 20, 3 hours, right? And because there's no such thing as time, and it's just what you're focusing on, you could be engrossed in a film or your phone, and 3 hours could pass by. Whereas if, like back in the day when I used to be a kid, I used to be in the park playing football, well, you like 3 hours would just be so long because you're not like mentally focused on something for 3 hours. You're just there and just chopping and changing and going there, going here. So time used to take forever. And I realized that time is disappearing because our brains aren't supposed to be focusing on something for this amount of time. We're watching series for hours and hours. We're on our phone for all the time, but we're not just doing nothing. And as I said, meditating 15 minutes feels like forever, but yet watching a Netflix series for 3 hours can fly by. So I know it's nothing to do with your question, but
No, that's fine because I can carry because when I've got 39 days before I go off to the Caribbean again, and those 39 days seem to take so long. But when I'm there, I want time to slow down, and I make sure time slows down. So you are right; it's a mental, it's like a mental agility. And when I leave my property, the view is amazing. And quite often I stop my car and I just mentally blink, take it all in. And it's like a mental video. I just remember where I am and I'm grateful. And I do think that being grateful is really important. So what are you grateful for?
So I'm grateful. So when I go on walks at night time, I say I'm grateful for my family, my mum, my dad, my sister, my sister's boyfriend, my family's health, my dog's love, the fact I live at home rent free, the fact I have a house, the fact I'm 27 and I'm living at home still, the fact I have meals every day, the fact that I am healthy, the fact that I have great people in my life. I go through all my life of all the things that I'm grateful for. And then new things like, for example, I'm grateful that I met Jackie, who could provide a opportunity in the future. I just put myself out there, like just being grateful for new things that come into my life, because I realize that when new things come into your life, sometimes they stay and sometimes they go and sometimes they come back, and you don't know when they're going to come back. So you should never rule anyone out or anything, because life always comes back around. Things always come back around. You know, a plant dies and then it grows again. But just on that topic, right, I'm a deep thinker, and I've just come to the conclusion that there is no such thing as time in terms of it's a man-made clock, right? But the feeling of time, I've just realized, is in our heads. For example, if you sat in your car in the Caribbean all day from the minute that the sun came up, from the minute the sun went down, you'd be like, holy shit, this has taken forever. Like, what time is it? Oh, it's only 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, Christ's sake. Like, I've got another 7 hours. Time would be so slow. But if you were jet skiing, if you were watching TV, if you were paragliding, if you were, I don't know, reading a magazine or doing an event, shooting, rifling, whatever, if that event is an hour or an hour and a half, your brain is focused for the hour and a half, which is the same as focusing on the view for 1 second, because it's all to do with when your brain's focused on something, there's no such thing as time, because you focus on it until it ends. Whereas if you're just present and aware, that's all that there is. So time is actually slowed down by meditating and not thinking and being aware. And I don't know how much you know about quantum physics and, you know, double slit experiment.
I know nothing. Go on.
Anyway, to put it simply, when you observe a particle, it becomes a wave. When you don't observe the particle, it continues to be a particle. So your reality changes when you focus on it. So if I'm putting this time thing into perspective, which I've just suddenly become aware of, when you are just present and not focusing on time, it lasts forever. It continues to be a particle. Whereas if you focus on something, it collapses and becomes a wave. So when you focus on a massive Netflix series or whatever, time flies because you're now focusing on something. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. And so, sorry, my heating had broken down here. That's why I'm in the reception, and the man's just messaged me to say your heating's working.
Oh,
yay!
good.
I've got some heat. Sorry, change the subject. Yeah, no, I totally understand that because, I have to physically stop myself from wishing those 39 days away. And although I want to be there, I don't want to miss 39 days. But it's the same as, when you're driving the same route as you often do, and you think, well, I don't remember driving the last 5 miles. So it's very similar concept.
Yeah, it's true. Like when you sleep, 8 hours later, you're awake, and that feels like a second. So if when you go to bed and you sleep all the way through and you wake up, feels like a second. Like I went to bed a minute ago. Being present, looking out, or waiting 39 days for your next gig. It's a mental thing, and when we're always focused on something. Like we're always doing something where we can't do nothing, and that's why time is flying past. That's why it's going to be Christmas. That's why everyone's like, bloody hell, where did February gone? Because the more cluttered life is, the more active we are, the more stuff is on the news, the more games are out there, the more Netflix, the more we are all doing all that, where that like takes up hours and hours and hours and hours of your time. And like the brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what isn't. It's just focusing or not. And that's where time is going. It's going where we are focusing our mind on. So if we don't focus on things and just do nothing and meditate, which no one does, time comes back. As I said, time feels like forever when I'm trying to meditate for 15 minutes. But when I'm watching a Netflix documentary for 3 hours, it feels the same as 15 minutes meditation. So I've realized now, speaking to you, time is what we choose to stimulate our neurons on.
Yep, I totally agree. Totally. And I've these 39 days, I vow to enjoy them and not wish them away. And again, part of me says, no, come on, hurry up. No, the other part says, no, enjoy life. Don't let it go past. Don't let anything go past without enjoying it.
Yeah, I used to be that person where I'd want something now and I couldn't even wait. So, for example, I go on Amazon Prime to get it delivered tomorrow, as opposed to making an effort to go out for lunch with my friend and then go to the shop and try on the top and make a day of it because I want it now. But I also know that if, for example, you were like, okay, let's go to the Caribbean, my mind will be in the Caribbean, and then all of a sudden 3 weeks passes by. So my mind has allowed myself to wait 3 weeks for the top, whereas when I'm focusing on that damn top and I just need to get it now, I can't wait a day.
I was like that when I started my podcast. When I decided, what happened was I used to listen to podcasts, and then Michael Moore, the American director, launched a podcast called Rumble. And I listened to it. He's only been going 5 weeks. And in the first 3 weeks, he got 3 million listeners. In fact, I was listening when he got his first million. And I thought, hold on a minute, I could do that. And that day, I decided it. I had to have decent headphones and microphone. And I tell you, I spent all day, because I could have ordered them from Amazon, but I didn't want them. I wanted it that day, and I wanted to make the podcast that day, and I did. I managed to find it was a shop that dealt with music and DJs, so I found everything I needed to do, and got the podcast done. So again, it's just willing, positive thinking, willing, and going and do it.
Yeah, so like your 39 days thing, right? This is what I've realized. If, for example, I've got one thing to do, right? For example, you've got nothing on at the moment and you've got your book launch in 39 days. That's like the next big excitement in your life. So you can't wait for that. But if you had like book launches today, conferences today, podcasts today, acting with the director today, and you were just present doing all this stuff, 39 days would pass and then you'll be doing your 39-day book thing. So it's just like another day. So I've realized that if we focus on things present, like we have something to do today, then we're not thinking about what to do and the nearest thing that's going to be happening. So like we don't like, we need stuff. We need a purpose now. Because then those days just become another day and then we're there. Whereas if you've got nothing on now, then all you think about is that. So I'm thinking about the top. I want it now. So I go on Amazon. But if I was going swimming today, my friends going to the cinema, I would be thinking about that. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. If there's crisps in the crisp store outside in the garage, I know that there's crisps. And every time I think about crisps, I have to go and have crisps. My parents are like,
the same.
My parents are like, you're addicted. And I'm like, no, I'm not addicted. And she goes, you have 5 a day. That's because when I think about it, the brain has to apply action to its thought. Otherwise, it just lingers around forever. You have to do it. So I said, don't buy crisps. And now I know there's no crisps there. I can go weeks without crisps. So again, if you have something, if you've thought about something, it will happen immediately. And in which case, in 39 days, you need it now. So if you're just focusing on what you have now, which in this case was no crisps in the drawer, there's just no crisps in the drawer. And I'm just doing what I'm doing now. Does that make sense?
Totally understand. And on that note, I am going to have to say goodbye because the gas man's just turned up, so he's going to tell me what happened. But I've really enjoyed our chat. I'm happy to come back again and chat again anytime, and I really wish you luck with the podcast.
Do you want to quickly plug anything? Say any websites, links, social medias now?
Yes, of course. Yes, please. So remember, my name's Jackie Rom, JACKYROM. You can go to JackieRom.com and find out all about what I do, and go on to Amazon Prime and look for Method of Murder. Thank you.
So it's JackieRom.com, yeah?
Yep. As easy as that.
Okay, I'm just going to press stop and say goodbye.